Okay, now that we've modeled our parts, we're going to do drawings of our parts and dimension them. You need a new drawing file. We go to New, and in your drawing templates, do not choose the standard IDW. We want the Edgewood drawing title block that I created and loaded onto your computers. It's not perfect, but it was something I had to do manually, one computer at a time, and we're going to go with it for now. So I'm going to create. And this brings up what is a size A sheet. Size A is 8.5 by 11. Okay. In here, you notice that we have a title block where you can put your name, the title of the drawing. There's a field here that we could list the date. That's something that I missed. The size A should populate. The file name right now, this is just a drawing title block. We will save this file and that should update. Okay, and we can put in your period, etc. Okay, so to change some of these features, if we come over here, let's see, I think just right here on where it says drawing 6 and right click and choose iProperties, this will bring up a iProperties dialog box where you can choose different tabs and you can update some things. So author is this drawn by field, so you can go ahead and put your name in there, and I'll change it to Mr. Orlando. Okay, and title down below is blank, and right here I will title it Puzzle Cube Purple Piece. I'm going to do my purple piece. Hit apply and close. And you notice that this updated to have my name and purple piece. Again, some formatting issues that are not perfect, but we're going with it. Okay, so next we need to put our purple piece in here. And remember that it was very important that I had chosen the correct front view before I saved. And that is for this point here where we bring in our purple piece. You do this by choosing the base and drawing view. We want to bring in the front view first, the file. You may have to navigate to your file right here, finding where your documents are at. We very well may be using this Autodesk 360. I have not been using that at this point when I'm recording the video. So I'm going to choose my purple piece and front view, and right here, hidden lines I want to enable. Notice that that's blue when I click on that. That disables hidden lines. This one enables, and I want hidden lines to show up. This button right here will color or shade your objects, and for orthographic projections we don't want that. It's almost hard to tell when it's on or off, but you can see the cylinder kind of drops down into the right slightly when it's on and comes back up and left when it is off. So I'll leave that off, and let me scroll this over here so you can see better. Now I'm in my drawing sheet and I can go ahead and place this view. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to approximate front. The top will go above. It automatically is projecting that for me. And notice it's aligning that view. I can't slightly raise that. It's keeping it horizontally placed. And this is going to be my right view. Okay. You could go on to do other views, your left, your rear, etc. We are simply going to do our front, top, right, and our ISO. And we'll just tuck the ISO up into the top right corner. After placing those boxes show you where your views will get created. You right click and say create. Now the ISO we would like to shade. So when you've got these dashed or that's dotted red border, click on that and then right click and say edit view. And this will bring this dialog box up where you can choose shaded, and it'll bring that color in from your part file. Okay, so now you have your orthographic projections, our front, our top, and our right. Next we need to dimension. Up in your ribbon, instead of place views, we're going to go to annotate. Under Annotate, you see the Dimension tool. Remember that dimensioning guidelines said that we should provide our overall width. I'm going to choose both the left and the right edges and then pull away. Our overall height, I'm going to come over to the right view, grab the top, the bottom, pull off to the side. And our overall depth. Depth can be this horizontal distance in the right view or the vertical distance in the top view. And I'm going to go ahead and do the depth from the top view. And then right click and say OK. At this point, I've provided the overall width, the overall height, and the overall depth. But that's not all the dimensions necessary to produce this part. So I'm going to go back and dimension the features on my width. The overall width's really been broken into 3 smaller parts. Since I have the overall, I only need to do 2 of the 3, as the third one will already be constrained. We also have a dimensioning guideline that says we prefer to dimension contours. So I'll dimension this protrusion as well as this one. You notice that my dimension tool stays on until I right click. The extension lines are automatically being created to have a slight distance or gap between them and the part. I'm going to right click and say OK. If I turn the dimensioning tool off and then back to my cursor, I can click and drag, click, hold, and drag and readjust my values. But remember, the numbers we like to be centered in the dimension line. And with more of a chain dimensioning style right here, we would like these arrows to be aligned for the 2.75s right here. As I move these, you notice that there are places where the dimension line turns into dashed lines. That's to have uniform spacing from one dimension line to the next. There you go. I have my width broken down. Again, this width is not shown, but it is known based on these other 3 that are here. Now I'll come to my height. I have an overall height of 1.5, but that height has been broken into 2 different heights, basically 2 steps. I need to know one of them so that the other one can be determined. Again, we prefer to dimension the protrusion or the contour. Next, I'll come to my depth. It's the same thing here. The overall depth has been broken into 2 smaller distances. The overall is known. If I can dimension one of the other 2, the other one has also been known. Right click and say OK. If I double click my wheel, that'll refit my drawing to the screen. I can also do that by using this pan wheel, bringing it out, and this little drop down says fit to window. If you find that you've ever zoomed way out and you can't even see your object, or panned way off to the side and you've lost it, pulling this up, choosing this little drop down, fit to window, will return your drawing back to the center of your screen. Okay. Next up, should I want to add some custom fields here, under Sketch, you can use a text tool. I'm going to choose the text tool, and I'm going to manually put in the date right here. It brings up a text dialog box. Down here is the field where you'll type your text. Today's date is the 24th, 2015. I'll type that in and hit enter. Right click and say OK, as the text tool is still on. Now I can choose this and move it around and center it and have it look the way I'd like. I can also insert my period that way as well. So text, and we'll pretend you're in first bell. I'll type in first, hit OK. Again, the text tool is still on. Right click, OK, and now I can move this. I can resize the area that the text will fall in, and I can move it. So there you go. My drawing says I drew it, the date, the title of this piece, and the period. You can go ahead and put all your other pieces into the same file and have different sheets, but we're going to go ahead and just make them separate files. So all of yours should say sheet 1 of 1. If you stored all 5 sheets within one drawing file, then this would auto count, and the next one would say 2 of 2, and perhaps once you have all 5 in there, then the second page would say 2 of 5, and the third page would say 3 of 5. Okay, I'll just say finish sketch after putting in those fields, those text fields, and I have a completed multi-view technical drawing that can be used to produce this part.